None of us like clutter. What if I told you you could say goodbye to clutter with storage solutions that might even be hiding in your home right now? Let's go. Hello, welcome back to The Crafty Organizer. I'm Noreen Eppley, and I love bringing you ways to organize, declutter, do DIYs, upcycles, and anything crafty, always on a budget. Today, I'm going to bring you some amazing ideas. I love doing these compilation idea videos because there's so many times that there's something sitting in your home that can easily be modified to bring you amazing storage solutions that you didn't even know you had. Let's start with something I'm sure we all have right outside of our kitchen. Most of us have chairs like this around our kitchen or dining table. There is underutilized space underneath that seat cushion. By adding a little hinge to the front or back and lining the bottom with either wood, foam core, or even cardboard, you have now created the perfect little storage space for napkins, placemats, bills, coloring books, games, whatever you're using and you need a place to store. This is the perfect hidden storage place that you're probably not currently utilizing. And speaking of hinges, you know the little kits that you can use to utilize that little space underneath your sink? By adding that little hinge, you have the little place to store your sponges. What about applying that same technique to a dresser that isn't being utilized in a room and creating a space for your printers or other electronics that you need access to but don't want to have out in the open? These cubbies are so popular. I find them pretty often. I think I've seen them as low as $20 at places like Big Lots. But by combining those little storage rods and a piece of wood along the top, this becomes amazing storage, not just for a craft room. Yes, I did this on Photoshop so you would get an idea, but this would be great in a closet for clothing or in a kid's room or even out in the garage, and use those hanging areas for seasonal items. Going back to that hinge idea, if you have pictures on the wall, why not attach the picture frame to the wall with a hinge, and you can use the wall space behind it to organize keys, or even use the base of the picture like this one to have a place for your wallet to slip into. I've shown this one before, but I always love using the tension rods, and this is a perfect example of how you're maximizing all of your space. By just using one tension rod, all of this vertical space is now being utilized, leaving the rest of the shelf open for other items. And of course, I've shown this one as well, but the tension rod under the sink allows you to either use the bar to hang your bottles on, or in this case, they're tilting a basket along the top, meaning all of that normally lost real estate is now utilized for the small items, towels, sponges, etc. You might remember the grids I just used in my own craft room with tension rods, but with just a couple of simple cup hooks, you can hang these grids and create pegboards anywhere that you need additional space. Using a similar technique with command hooks and a rod, or go ahead and use some curtain hangers, you can use all of that backsplash area in a kitchen or in a bathroom to get all of those small items up and out of the way, freeing up your counter space. And if you want a coffee bar, make use of those curtain rods and get all of your cups up on the wall, displaying those collections or making them easy to access. I love this idea at the end of a counter. They took a file holder that was a lovely little mesh farmhouse look, but they're using it for their plates and napkins. This makes them easy to access. It's freeing up space wherever your cabinet was holding them or drawer, but now everyone can easily see them, and I think it looks like a nice little decorative touch in the kitchen. I love this idea with a curtain rod. I would probably use the sockets like you would use in a closet for the closet rod, just because of the weight, but I love the idea of getting those pots and pans up with large S-hooks. This utilizes all of the back space. It makes them easy to get access and put them away, but it also leaves you the open space on the bottom of the cabinet. These last two curtain rod type ideas are using the space underneath shelves. Most of the times we have everything sitting on top of the shelf, and the little top portion, well, it's not being used. So why not get a couple of curtain rods, attach them to the underside of a shelf, and you can now use this for your cutting boards or cookie sheets. Or if you've got something like this and you can have a deeper area, you can put all of those cellophane wraps, aluminum foils, parchment papers, freeing up the drawer or taking up space on a shelf. Going back to the pantry, command hooks will allow you to clip together all of those small little packages and hang them inside of the door or on the side where you're not utilizing that real estate. Now, shoe holders are always going to be one of my favorite genius storage ideas because you can use them in so many places. But in a pantry on the other side of a door is a great place for all of those small cooking items or even your cleaning items. And let's face it, there's lots of spaces where we're using doors and that storage is free range to use. Now, I don't know about you, but my lids seem to multiply or they disappear completely. I got rid of all of my miscellaneous sized containers and went for small, medium, and large. And if it doesn't fit in those, then it goes in a baggie. I got so tired of trying to match lids to bases. One time I just gave up, went to the Dollar Tree and only invested in 3 sizes. And for me personally, it was one of the best things I could have done. But if you have multiple sizes, consider getting a cooling sheet. Set it on top of a little basket and you can now easily organize all of the different size lids, making them easy to see, go by small and organize them to large, and you won't have to dig anymore. But if you are like me and you have just a couple of sizes, go ahead and pair each size into its own bin with the lids on the back, maximizing all of that storage space. Another tip though, if you've got the glass containers, is use a tension rod to divide the lids to the side of a drawer or cabinet, making it easy to nest all of those containers and have the lids easily accessible to the side. Now, this particular idea is amazing to me, but it does require a little bit more of a build. By just getting some MDF or some existing bookshelves, you can attach these to a wall up higher, building it around a door to create storage for an entire wall and not taking up much of a footprint on your floor. When you consider most cabinets are about 11 inches and the average hanger is 14 inches wide, this would be such a small footprint in the overall area of a room, but all of that vertical storage, you would need a step stool if you're short like me, but all of that vertical storage would be such a small footprint if built around a door like this idea. This is a similar idea made with existing crates. By just mounting them one by one to a wall, they've created an entire structure of storage. They're using it more decoratively, but you could easily use this for books, crafts, kids' clothes, kids' toys. You just want to make sure that they are anchored to a wall because we don't want anybody getting hit in the head if something falls. Moving into papers, if you have a lot of files you're trying to store and it just becomes overwhelming, you don't want to create big major systems, use binder clips and use labels on the side of that binder clip. I really love this idea because it simplifies the need for not having to create many file folders, and it also allows you to easily read right away when you open up that drawer what each one of the things is. Now, you have to be small because those spaces aren't very big on the binder clips, but I really think this is a great idea. And to keep them from getting chunky in the middle, I would stagger it so that it's going down across all of the edge of the pages. So you would have one and then the second batch would have one here, kind of like the tabs in a notebook. But I think this is a great idea just to keep things simplified. But if you do want to use folders, I've always loved the idea of keeping like with like documents in a specific folder, have those in a file cabinet or on a shelf. If you are using binders, I love the idea of using sheet protectors and labeling what they are, but get baseball card holders to organize important things like Social Security, old driver's license, credit cards you're not using. Or I love this idea if you have multiple keys of easily labeling what you have and keeping it in an easy to access notebook, meaning these items will never get lost. I did a video a couple years ago where I did this exact thing. I took away all the cases of my DVDs and was able to consolidate into one little folder. But if you have a lot of these, consider getting the small sleeves and cutting down the page, the cover page from the DVD case and slipping it in, alphabetizing them, and all of that space is now consolidated into a little box or a little file folder. My family and I love playing games, but oh my gosh, do they take up so much space. I love this idea of converting the boxes into bag pouches, removing all of that bulky necessity and streamlining them, taking up so much less space. If you have a chest of drawers, add some of those IKEA spice racks on the side. This allows you to use all of that storage for small things. In a kid's room, this is great for books. In a craft room, you could use those side compartments for glues and glitters and paints. If you're using a chest of drawers like this in an office, you could use this for stand-up file folders. I think this is a great way to create storage that would normally not ever be utilized. Now, I've talked about folding clothes before, and I have always liked the idea that you stand the clothes up. This was an idea that was first popularized by Martha Stewart way before Marie Kondo got into the game. But standing your clothes up does a couple of things. It allows you to fold them specifically to fit into a space. It makes it easier to see everything so nothing gets lost, but it also allows you to maximize the storage because it's amazing when things are folded this way, how much more you can fit into a space. While this one isn't storage, I do think it's such a good idea. I always have a dry erase marker over by my washer and dryer. Sometimes when you throw something in the washer, you want to pull it out and make sure it doesn't go into the dryer. Write yourself a note, and that way as you're pulling things out, you can't help but miss it. But oftentimes, in my case, my husband will come and help me. He won't know to pull that thing out first. So this is a great way to leave quick little notes. And we are personally incorporating this because we have a second refrigerator in the garage, and we're always forgetting what we have in the outdoor refrigerator and freezer. This secondary dry erase board allows us to write what's out there, making sure we don't overbuy, but we're also using everything up before we go spend more money. One of my viewers, Dawn Carter, shared these amazing ideas. She got these 3 boxes and built a larger box around them to create her own little chest of drawers. You guys know I love creating your own storage ideas like this. But this is the other idea she made. Do you remember the stair steps I made for the paint? She created a double version where the inside will slide out for hidden storage or extras of her paint, but then she can slide it closed back inside. Well done, Dawn. I absolutely loved this idea. Now, you guys know I love storage containers to organize things. I think it makes it so much easier to corral the likes with likes and also hide some of that clutter. Sometimes we don't like seeing so many things out. Getting those similar items together so that you know where they're at and then putting it inside of a container just makes it more visually aesthetic. But please, remember, you don't have to spend a ton of money on storage like this. I would never want anyone to go out and spend so much money on pretty containers when you can get them so affordably at Big Lots, the dollar store, the TJ Maxx's, Home Goods, and never forget the joy of finding things at a thrift store or at garage sales. But honestly, creating storage out of existing boxes is so easy, and I've had several of you ask to please show how I cover a box in contact paper, so I'm going to be adding that to the list. A couple of other things that I'm going to be adding is my TikTok lights, if that's what you call them, my little LED lights on my bookcase died, and I'm not happy about it, but many of you asked if I could show how I did that. So I have a new set right here, and I'm going to go ahead and show you how I attached them. They were honestly very easy, and I think these went out because I bumped with the shelf on the lights and it just burned it out. So I'm going to see, but I loved the look of it, and now that it's dark, I really miss the light. So that's going to be coming up on a video, as well as a fun, whimsical DIY sign I'm making for the garden. So make sure you've hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching today. Let me know if you have any amazing storage ideas. So many of the viewers leave comments, but also read through the things you're writing. So if you've had a great idea, share it with your fellow viewer and allow them to use your great ideas. Thank you so much to my patrons who allow me to make these videos, and thanks to you for watching, liking, and leaving comments. I will see you guys in just a few days. Bye.